He slid 2 black cards across the table and said, "Steady as ice, spend as you wish. No receipts. I want truth." My name is Jade Collins, housekeeper, former CNA professional at being overlooked, and in that moment in Sun Valley with snow pressing against the windows, I realized this wasn't about shopping. It was about X-raying a soul. You know what I mean. Sabrina Cross didn't blink. She tucked 1 card into a crocodile wallet, like she was holstering a little piece of power. Threw me a smile that said, "Good luck out there," and headed for town. Me. I just stared at the 2nd card until my hand finally stopped shaking, because people like me get judged no matter what we do. Spend, and you're greedy. Save, and you're ungrateful. Help yourself, and you're selfish. Help others, and someone calls it a stunt. I walked to a coffee shop, opened my phone, typed "Winter Shelter, Boise Emergency," and by noon I was in a drafty building where the boiler coughed like it had seen 3 wars. The director showed me a list taped to the wall: heat repair coats, diapers, and her eyes apologized for needing help. I paid the invoice on the spot and put the donor name as the Pierce Trust, not mine, because I've watched doors open faster when the right name knocks. And that afternoon, the ping started in Holden Pierce's study: Sabrina Boutique, Sabrina Spa, Sabrina Private Driver. Then Pierce Trust Boiler Repair, Pierce Trust Winter Coats. And upstairs, a man who never guesses when he can verify leaned closer to the screen. Dinner the next night was a test dressed like a meal. Long table, too much silver steaks bleeding on white plates. Holden said, "I gotta thank you for a donation I didn't make," and the air barely moved. I told him it was your money, the credit should be your name, not because I'm modest, but because desperation doesn't have time to convince anyone I'm respectable. Sabrina's smile got sharp. "So we're rewarding modesty now," and I didn't answer because some arguments are just traps. Holden just nodded like he was filing me under. Requires a second look. He knocked on the laundry room door the next morning, handed me a key, and said Margot's study. His late wife lived in that house like a good ghost. Journals, letters, sketches for something called Lantern House, a place for women to come in from the cold with their dignity intact. "Help me finish what she started," he said, and my lungs forgot how to behave because people forgive you for being invisible. They do not forgive you for becoming visible. I said yes anyway, which is a small word with a long shadow. The pushback came soft at first. A schedule changed without warning, deliveries that somehow went to the wrong door, my notes mysteriously rearranged, with 2 pages missing. Advisors in Navy suits arrived and spoke around me. No certifications, no nonprofit leadership, previously housekeeping. And I said, previously CNA, currently the person who shows up, which they did not write down. So I left the house, found a community hall with wobbly folding chairs and coffee that could strip paint, and told a room full of people who actually know what struggle sounds like, what we were building. No PR, no stage, just hands that have learned the weight of a door and how to hold it open. For the first time in months, I remembered what oxygen tasted like. Then the gala hit. Of course it did. Chandelier light linen with a trust fund, donors who all laughed in the same key. Holden spoke about Margot's stubborn mercy, and I felt the ground steady under me. Then a screen behind him lit up with videos I never consented to. Me outside an ER begging the receptionist to see a woman without insurance, me in a grocery lot, helping a stranger to the curb, me pacing a clinic lobby with tears and too much hope. You could hear the room pull back. Sabrina stood by the tech booth like a surgeon about to call time of death. Holden snapped, "Kill the feed," and I turned to the crowd and said, "Yeah, that happened. I've begged, I've helped strangers, I've cried when I felt useless. That doesn't make me unstable, it makes me human. If that disqualifies me, maybe we should talk about what qualifies us. There was a beat where I heard every story I ever swallowed. Then a shelter director stood and said, "She stayed late to fold blankets when nobody was watching," and the applause started in the back. Truth loves the cheap seats, and rolled forward. Sabrina changed tactics because people like her don't quit, they pivot. Anonymous ethics complaint, words like mismanagement and bias tossed around, like confetti at a bitter wedding. A civil suit from a contractor who wrote more adjectives than facts. Donors freezing funds, media vans outside the stone gate. Holden's face went back to investment mask mode. No tells, no tremor. And one night he said, "I don't doubt your heart. I doubt myself. Last time I believed in someone, I buried her. It stung, but I wasn't there to fix his grief, so I told him. Then don't believe in me, believe in the work." And that sentence stood between us like a handrail on a staircase we still needed to climb. I canceled nothing. We held a town hall on the muddy construction site under gray tarps while the rain pinned us to the ground, and people showed up anyway. Social workers in windbreakers, moms with kids in damp hoodies, city staff, a couple reporters trying to keep their shoes clean. I told them everything. Yes, there's an investigation. Yes, it hurts. Yes, I came from nothing. And that's why I know what a locked door sounds like. We're not building charity. We're building doors. The video went online, the board met. Holden walked in with budgets and permits and, God help me, a letter I had written to Margot the week she died. A letter I never meant anyone to see, about fear, and showing up when showing up has never once clapped for you. The vote was unanimous. Lantern House stands, Jade stays, and Sabrina resigned before anyone could draft a goodbye email. Yeah, that happened. We opened on a cloudy Saturday with food trucks, free haircuts, a wall where you could write the first line of a story you were finally ready to tell. The first woman we placed was 70, stubborn, and carrying her life in a canvas bag, the color of old denim. "I'm Ruth," she said. "I heard this place was named after somebody." "Margot," I told her, but she'd be honored to share. Ruth slept through the night for the first time in 19 years. The staff toasted with sweet tea in paper cups, and I went out back to cry like it counted. Momentum showed up uninvited. Donations from strange corners, a builder who'd side-eyed me at the gala, offering a materials discount, a councilman asking for policy advice, and an older woman named Evelyn bringing a folder labeled Jubilee, a network plan Margot had been stitching together for years. Mobile mental health clinics, a jobs corridor that, like second chances, a leadership academy for girls who were told their voices sounded wrong in rooms like these. The offer thrilled and terrified me in the same breath. Sabrina tried one more time from the shadows. Different letterhead, same poison. And our attorney smiled without showing teeth. "Whoa," she said. "They're hoping paper cuts can do what knives couldn't." We answered fast. Depositions made a mess of the story she wanted told, and somewhere else a headline about retaliatory tactics landed on a very different desk. I didn't cheer, I didn't gloat. I just went back to room assignments and a new series we started called The Rooms We Build, where Curtis sat across from a mic and said, "I carry every version of me in my back pocket. Now I also carry a key, and I swear the audio file learned how to breathe. If you're wondering about Holden and me, I'll give you the part that belongs to both of us." Grief built a fortress in him work. Put windows in the walls, and some nights we sat on the back steps and didn't say anything. Just listened to the wind and the building hum. He asked, "Do you ever feel like we're building something the world doesn't want?" And I told him no. "We're building something the world doesn't expect." And he handed me tea like that answer. Let him set down a weight for a minute. "Here's your twist inside the win. Jubilee wants us to go National Beacon Place is on the drafting table, and I am wrestling with the math of mercy. Staying small keeps oxygen in the room. Walking folks to their door hearing that first safe snore through a wall. Scaling risks thinning the oxygen if you're not careful. So I'm asking you to wrestle with me. Was the black card test cruel or fair? Did anonymity protect dignity or steal representation? Does a big name opening doors make the system complicit or just efficient? You tell me where you stand, because I still remember what it felt like to stand outside. Lantern House is open, the lights on, and if this story put a light somewhere in you, talk to me. Drop where you're watching from. Tell me what you think is a fair test and what crosses a line. Tell me if you've seen a name open a door that should have opened anyway. Tell me who held a door for you when you needed it. Hit subscribe if you want the Beacon Place chapter and fill the comments with the kind of truth that makes rooms better. I can't promise to get everything right, but I can promise to keep building doors.